Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
Completing a weeks-long search, Israeli security forces finally captured and arrested on Tuesday Assam Barghouti, who is suspected of shooting dead 2 IDF soldiers last month at the GIVAT ASSAF outpost in the West Bank. During the shooting, the suspect also injured another soldier, and he's thought to be connected to the Ofra settlement bus stop shooting as well. In that attack, Assam and his brother Salih shot and injured 7 people and killed a newborn baby after it was an emergency premature delivery. Both Shin Bet IDF and police services killed Salih in a shootout in December, just days before Assam shot the 3 soldiers in GIVAT ASSAF. Assam was only finally caught last night after nearly a month of manhunts at an accomplice's home in the West Bank village of Abu Shuhaydin. And the arrest was just in time too, as Barghouti is believed to have been planning another similar shooting attack. A Kalashnikov rifle, night vision technology, and large quantities of munitions, among other things, were confiscated during the raid. Assam's other brother was arrested over the weekend as part of the search. Former Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman and Prime Minister Netanyahu, among others, all praised the arrest operations, with Netanyahu reiterating in his statement that the long hand of Israel will reach all those who harm Israeli citizens and bring them to justice. And the fact that Barghouti was captured alive has also been lauded as evidence of the Israeli security apparatus's ability. However, Ilanit Mor Yosef, the mother of Yuval Mor Yosef, who was one of the 2 IDF soldiers murdered in GIVAT ASSAF, took a different tone. She told Army Radio in an interview that Barghouti, quote, had no right to be caught alive, end quote, adding that he had already been released from prison and was involved in the Ofra shooting, yet nothing has been done against him and his family. She said Israel must destroy his and all his collaborators' houses, as promised by Israeli policy. In the day after the PA pulled all of its personnel from the RAFAH border crossing between Gaza and Egypt, Egypt has closed all entry through the gate to Gazan Palestinians. This despite Hamas forces having taken over for the PA in terms of staff. The Palestinian Authority announced its decision as a form of protest against Hamas's activities as of late, in which over 500 PA employees in Gaza have reportedly been detained or arrested by the Hamas terror group. The decision also marks yet another instance of the growing tensions between the 2 Palestinian factions, Hamas in Gaza and Palestinian Authority President Abbas's Fatah party in Ramallah. Hamas kicked Fatah out of the Strip in 2007, and all attempts to reconcile have since failed. Egypt, however, has been attempting to mediate, and Israel has been working independently with both the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank as well as with Hamas to a degree in Gaza. Palestinian Authority officials in the West Bank have blasted the international community, though, for circumventing unification efforts by working with Hamas. Efforts like Qatar's pledged $90 million in funding to the Strip in the form of $15 million cash installments, and Israel's allowance of said payments and aid to continue entering Gaza. That being said, the latest Qatari installment of $15 million has reportedly been stalled. Some report that the stall is in response to these latest internal Palestinian clashes. Other Israeli media reports say Israel asked Qatar not to follow through with the payment, though, as a retaliation to the rocket fired into southern Israel from Gaza earlier this week. An explosive incendiary device shaped like a drone and attached to a bunch of balloons also entered Israel from Gaza this week, landing in an agricultural field. The so-called drone had the logo of Gaza's engineering college on it and exploded when police sappers were inspecting it. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu demanded Monday night a confrontation with the state's witnesses in the corruption cases against him. In a live televised address, Netanyahu said that he has twice asked to meet with the witnesses, but was denied the request, and so he was demanding once again in a public forum. Additionally, the Prime Minister said that law enforcement was refusing to question key witnesses that could exonerate him, adding again that he is certain of his innocence and that these cases are part of a left-wing attempt to oust him. Now, the address was also announced 3 hours prior to the main news cycle with promise of a special and dramatic revelation. However, as Israel's main news channels devoted the top slot of their broadcast to Netanyahu, his address fell very short of expectations. Media analysts and politicians criticized him for using the platform to give a campaign speech, and Channel 10 News even cut out of the announcement mid-speech, moving on to other scheduled headlines. Opposition leader Sheli Yachimovich also blasted the Prime Minister, saying, "We witnessed a cynical and lame election show by someone who tries with all his might to escape justice." And meanwhile, the Justice Department has responded to Netanyahu's criticisms, saying in a statement that the investigations were conducted professionally and thoroughly, adding that it was inappropriate to discuss the investigative activities and testimonies in the media. It seems gardeners who talk to their plants may now actually have even more legitimate reason to do so, as a new study from Tel Aviv University finds that flowers not only hear the buzz of approaching bees, but respond to the sound by producing sweeter nectar. This in turn entices bees to return more often, thereby increasing the chances of that flower's pollen being distributed for reproduction. Now, the Israeli scientists used the Onothero-Drummondii flowers, known commonly as evening primroses, and exposed them to a playback sound of a flying bee, as well as to synthetic sound signals at similar frequencies. And they found that the flowers produced sweeter nectar within 3 minutes of hearing the sounds. The researchers say that the flowers vibrated mechanically in response to the audio stimuli as well, suggesting that the flower petals acted as a plant's auditory sensory organ. The researchers, however, also found that human-made sounds have the ability to negatively affect this natural mechanism. Much more still needs to be researched, though. Still, the results are very promising for many applications, and the study was published on the BioRxiv website, with the researchers adding that our results document for the first time that plants can rapidly respond to pollinator sounds in an ecologically relevant way.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.